It's time for Losses Above Replacement, the best baseball podcast to grace your ears, with your hosts, Alex.
Gosh, I have so many questions. Also, where's my car?
Splash.
Strive to love something as much as my grandmother loves buying new crock pots.
And Mac.
If you've ever been to Boston, you know that they have amazing ice cream.
Coming to you from coast to coast, it's LAR.
Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Spring training is here. We are in full swing. I am once again snorting the Jared Kelenic Kool-Aid. I'm not even drinking it. I need it faster into my veins. Jurickson Profar sitting number one. Spencer Schwellenbach is the best pitcher in baseball, followed by Ronaldo Lopez. It's a great time to be alive. Also, Clay Holmes is really good. Sandy Alcantara is back and better than ever. Lawrence Butler hits dongs. Manny Machado hits dongs. Ellie De La Cruz, more like Ellie De La Cruz missile. Bang, bang. How are we doing, fellas?
I mean, to be fair, I get called the homer probably the most on this show. That was, I think, the most homer rant I think I've ever heard in my life.
Okay. We will. Spencer Schwellenbach might actually cure cancer at this point. There is nothing on a baseball diamond that you could put past. If you told me Spencer Schwellenbach threw 10 perfect games this season, sure, I would believe you. If you told me that he struck out every batter he faced, I would believe you. It is that point. It is the hopium time. We are all on balloons, hot air balloon. We're all flying through the sky, and we might get too close to the sun and get the 2024 Rangers experience, but we are vibing. Mac, how are you?
I'm doing all right. It got pretty warm here, so I like that. I went and coached today. I was kind of under the weather over the weekend. Not exactly sure what happened. I'd say yesterday at when I went to practice, my body was definitely not ready for a full hour-long workout, but we're vibing though. I'm still home alone till the end of this week. My cats are trying to bite me, and they get impatient when I'm not feeding them. But other than that, they're doing great, and I'm doing all right. And yeah, baseball season. We're a little under a month until opening day.
Alex, how are you?
Well, I think I got whatever Mac had because I'm feeling under the weather today. I apologize if any of my coughs or sneezes come through the mic. I have been inhaling cough drops and NyQuil, so hopefully things go all right there. Other than that, just keep it on. I'm excited that finally I get to watch Mariner baseball again. Whether it be on, the At-Bat app, which, by the way, cool thing about being a season ticket holder, you get free MLB At-Bat for the year. So always nice. But yeah, just getting to watch the games and all that fun stuff as we get ready for the season. Lazaro Montez is the truth. When Montez comes to the big leagues, he is going to redefine the game in his own image.
I love to hear the sound of that. I have beef with baseball. Can we get StatCasts in all the spring training ballparks, please? I want to see when so-and-so, some random prospect, hits a 700-foot home run. And can we get all of the games on video? Like Bryce Eldridge, Giants prospect, first baseman, hit a 450-foot home run. I can't find video evidence of it. Everson Pereira in the Yankees organization famously does not hit home runs, but he hit a home run in spring. Not televised. You can't find a video. Figure it out, folks. We are in the year of our Lord 2025. Why are spring training games not all televised and not all StatCast data? These parks, most of them have, so the ones that aren't StatCast qualified, they still have cameras. They just don't have enough for Hawkeye to work. So baseball, figure it out. You make too much money for this not to work. Figure it out.
I mean, I want to see every game just for free televised. That it's a money thing, and it's also paying a broadcaster thing as well. One of the things I liked last year that Seattle did was they put some games on YouTube that were not even, the first game wasn't even sponsored. It was just there, and all they did is they had a little score bug. They had an announcer. went from it from there. And it was actually quite nice here. And then they started to do more that had some sponsorships. Like I think Starbucks sponsored the next one. And I thought that's just a great idea. Just do something that's simple. You don't even need to have, StatCast or anything for these ones. Just let us be able to watch baseball. You don't need a lot for it.
I mean, the StatCast thing, it's not like the ballparks that don't have StatCast. It's not like they have 0 cameras. It's just a couple extra cameras. You already have most of the cameras you need. And like these organizations, like say the Mets, right? I don't need Gary and Steve and Keith on Gary and Steve.
Steve Gelbs is the sideline reporter.
Okay, that's
Gary,
my
Keith,
bad.
and Ron.
Okay, yeah. I don't need like the number 1 team every single game, right? But the Mets have minor league affiliates, and they're on MILB TV. Why can't they call some games with the big league club?
Yeah, I don't think the minor league announcers go. I'm pretty sure, which is, I mean, it's understandable, but
okay.
If I'm not mistaken, the Mets are SNY's broadcasting every home game, but I don't think that the TV announcers at least are traveling. I believe there are some games where the radio announcers go.
Okay.
I definitely agree that they. I would like to see more of those spring training games televised. I will say, shout out to the Mets social team today. They were doing some funny things with the drawings of what happened during innings. So, that was amusing.
Anytime that I see like a stick figure drawing on my timeline and I see a major league team associated with it, I'm just like, I'm all for it. I want to see this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's just what we call the admin team having fun at their job, and I am so for it.
Shout out to John Brebbia and the Tigers, by the way. Peak social media. Anyways, what's peak for us? Ranking and what's the best position to rank right fielders. It's time for war today. We have, I would imagine we have 5 of the best players in baseball, 5 of the, 25 best players in baseball, 30 best players in baseball. Maybe Lawrence Butler makes an appearance today. I don't know. But what I do know is, Alex, who is your number 5 right fielder in the world of Major League Baseball?
I'm going to kind of piggyback off what you were saying just a second ago. This list was hard, but not for the reason, like, say, our third base, our second base list was hard. There are because you're trying to find, like, people that we can realistically put in our top 5. This is one where you're having to leave off a lot of names that are like, oh, wow, he could be, an easy right field person for this. Oh, he could easily be a top 5 for this. So I'm actually not going to give any honorable mentions for this one because I just want to get right on into it. Here, my number 5 is Kyle Tucker. Now, Kyle Tucker could be a top 3 in a lot of lists, but that just shows you how stacked the right field bit here is. I have a theme for my 4 and 5, and it's called Defy the Expectation. For my 4 and 5. We'll get to my number 4 in a moment here. But for Kyle Tucker, this is going to be his first time playing for a team that's not the Astros. So I want to see how well does he do in a new home setting. That's always going to be the question. He no doubt he has the ability to play there. He's still projected to be one of the best right fielders in all of baseball. But it's about, can he do that while transitioning to a new team? Because usually that first year, it's either incredible or very underwhelming. I'm looking for him to try and defy the odds, and because of that, he's my number 5.
Yeah, so I will mention a couple guys that I left off. So some honorable mentions. Teoscar Hernandez, he hits like crazy. My issue is he's basically a non-factor defensively. He would be a DH on most teams, but obviously the Dodgers have a pretty good DH. I would say he's all right. Corbin Carroll had a pretty awful first half last year, but in the second half, he looked like Corbin Carroll. Like that was who we expected to see. I mean, 17 homers and a 919 OPS in the second half after only hitting 5 homers with a 635 OPS in the first half. Like we got what was advertised in that second half, and I think he's going to have a major bounce back season over the course of a full year. And then my first one off, I can't believe he's not in any of my top 5s this year. Mike Trout. Trout is moving over to right field, but I mean, he will make the top 5 list if he plays even 120 games, maybe even 110 games. Okay. He's really, really good when he's on the field. And last year, I know his numbers were down. He had some weird batted ball data, but I think Trout's still a great player. So, anyways, my number 5 is Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm a big believer in Tatis. I think that moving him to the outfield was good for him. His defense did take a bit of a step back while his offense took a step forward last year. He was back over 130 in WRC plus, 135 to be exact. That's a big improvement over the 112 he had the year before. No, he wasn't double digits in OAA or defensive run save, but he still has, he's athletic out there. He's still fast. And I think he's going to recover this year defensively. He's still very hard thrower in right field, 98th percentile in arm strength. So it's a lot of red on his StatCast page. He underperformed a lot of his batted ball data. 55.8% hard hit rate makes me excited in particular. And so same with that 538 expected slugging percentage. So he's number 5, and it's just tough because, like you were saying, this is the most stacked position on the diamond right now. So number 5 for now, and I don't know where he's going to be next year.
Yeah, I'll go straight with you here. I have Fernando Tatis as my number 5. I tend to be the high man on Tatis. I had him, I believe, over Soto last year, which is kind of outrageous in hindsight, but just incredibly toolsy. One of the toolsiest players in baseball. Like Max said, not quite as good with the glove, but howitzer of an arm, absolute hose of an arm in right field. And like Max said, athletic. So I would project him to be a plus defensive player, a plus base runner, and a guy with plus power. He can swing and miss sometimes. I get it. I wish he drew a couple extra walks here and there. But just like a 40-40 talent at the position. And of course, one of his contemporaries here did go 40-40 in a season. But just exceptional player and a guy that you should probably sprinkle some MVP futures on. Well, outside of the Ohtani thing. So if Ohtani didn't exist, I would sprinkle some MVP futures on Fernando Tatis Jr. And for my number 4, we're just going to go no new names. I have Kyle Tucker at my number 4. He had a 4.7 WAR, baseball reference WAR in like 78 games, which is darn near 9.5 win pace. The one thing I am worried about is moving to a new ballpark. That's fine. It's moving to Wrigley Field, and it's very wind dependent. So Kyle Tucker hits all the fly balls. He just does not hit the ball on the ground. His ground ball rate was under 30% in 2024. That's great. Well, those line drives, I don't think the line drives are going to be affected, but those fly balls, if you get like weird weather patterns, like last year, the Cubs felt like every home game, the wind was blowing in. So say Shota Imanaga didn't have quite the home run problem one would project moving to Chicago. So if the wind's just blowing out all the time, okay, Tucker might hit 70 home runs because that's just how his batted ball profile works. But if the wind's blowing in, like I don't think he's going to have a great April. I think could have, maybe 2 home runs and like hit 230 and everyone's freaking out like, oh, why did you trade so much for Kyle Tucker? Oh, you got to trade him now. Well, then in June, or if you get a nice homestand, or if you get a nice trip to some good ballparks and all of a sudden he has 8 home runs in 2 weeks, I could see that happen. He's an incredibly talented player, a very savvy base runner. So I wouldn't say 5 tools in the same way that Tatis is just like really fast, but Tucker, is just a savant in a lot of ways, picking times to steal. He did not get caught last year, only 11 steals, but he was 11 for 11 on steals last year, 23 home runs in under half a season, was an all-star. And the Astros really came and went as Kyle Tucker went. And he missed a big chunk of the season. And the Astros, barely win the AL West, have their worst season. They're not like a top 2 seed. So Kyle Tucker is my number 4. Mac, would you like to continue?
Yeah, I also have Kyle Tucker at number 4. He's a guy where if he had played a full season last year, he probably is number 3. And I really wish he did play a full season last year because he was an MVP candidate when he was on the field. To your point, 4.2 Fangraphs WAR, but still in 78 games. That's ridiculous. That's getting close to 9 WAR in a season. Granted, we have a guy on here who's had 2 11-win seasons. So, but Kyle Tucker is really, really good. He hits the ball hard. To your point about his steals, he was only in the 18th percentile in sprint speed, but this is a guy who's stolen 30 bases in the season. I understand your concerns about him playing in Wrigley Field. I mean, we saw with Isak Paredes after the trade. He really struggled in Wrigley. But I think Tucker, I think he can hit pretty well there. 41% fly ball rate. Yes, it's high. But I still think you're looking at a guy who can hit 30 homers, steal around 20 to 30 bases. He's an above average fielder. 7 defensive runs saved, 1 out above average. Doesn't have a cannon, but he's like an average arm. But overall, I think he checks all the boxes, and he's also entering a contract year. So this could be a huge season for Kyle Tucker. And I'm really curious to see if the Cubs hang on to him past this season.
So I'll go to my number 4. I also have Kyle Tucker. No. No, I have Kyle Tucker for number 5. I'm waiting because I know what the reaction is going to be for this. Number 4, I have Acuna. And here's my thing. Go back to what I said for number 5. It's about defying the expectation. My expectation of him is that he's not going to play the entire year. He's not going to play a full season. Like, we already know he's not going to start out the season here. If you get a full season of Acuna, he is potentially number 1. I'm not saying he is. He's potentially there. He works towards it. He has the speed. He has the batting ability. But can he stay on the field? He is not good defensively. He can hit the ball stupid hard. He can run stupid quick. But the one thing he can't do is stay on the field. If he stays on the field, he is potentially top 2. But until that happens, right now, going into this year, he's my number 4.
Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I have Acuna at number 3. So it's really tough to gauge those guys who are coming off significant injuries because we saw this in 2022, and Acuna wasn't exactly himself that year. That being said, he was still, he was above average by WRC plus and OPS plus. I mean, it's not like he became a bad player. But the last time we saw him on the field for a full season, he won an MVP and had a 40-70 season, okay? So we know how incredibly talented he is when he's healthy. Career 141 WRC plus, and that includes, all right, he's the injury recovery year in 2022 when he was a 115, and then this past year, which was injury shortened, and he was only a 105. The thing is, I think this past year, he was starting to, sort of put it all together when he got hurt. So I think even if he comes back in like May or June, even, I think it's reasonable to expect at least a 2020 season from him. And I think he's going to make a big impact on what the Braves do this season. I think a lot of their success is going to hinge on what he's able to do when he comes back. But we know what he's like at his peak, and I see no reason to believe he can't be an elite player when he's healthy. So he's number 3 right now, but we had him number 1 entering last year, if I'm not mistaken, and there was reason to it. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be a 40-70 guy this year, but I think expecting him to be a 140 to 150 WRC plus guy is reasonable.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback here, and it hurts me to say it, but Ronald Acuna is also 3 for me. The difference between, say, Tucker and Acuna, Tucker had the wonderful half season. Acuna did that over a full season. 170 OPS plus in 2023, 70 steals, like 130 runs, 200 hits, hit 330. So like he had
149 runs, by the way.
Yeah, like he had one of the all-time ridiculous seasons. It like if you saw that on Ty Cobb's page, you could say, yeah, checks out. 1,000 OPS, yeah, checks out. Just like a historic season, and I'm not gonna throw that all away because he had a weird like quarter season. I've talked about it before. Like if you had a time to be healthy and your stats look good, April is not the time. Pitchers are ahead of hitters. the weather is not as warm, especially in Atlanta. Like
Or the Northeast.
Your offensive production could be a little stifled. So if you pick a 46 game stretch, the April to early May is not the stretch I want. If I just picked the 46 games, obviously October would get priority. But if I'm looking for stats, it'd be, July and August in Atlanta. Like, yeah, the ball is going to fly. So, and I think Ronald did start to press as like the season wore on. He's coming off the 40-70 season. The power wasn't quite there last year. The batted ball stuff was still fine. But the takeaway that I have is, as bad as it was, that's like the least power you're going to see out of Acuna. The defensive value is probably the lowest it's going to be. And he got on base still at a 351 clip. That's better than what Tatis does. And that's better than the vast majority of players in Major League Baseball. The huge walk rate, the great plate discipline. Yeah, he hits too many ground balls sometimes, but just the objective of baseball is to score runs, and Ronald Acuna is one of the best players at scoring runs. Just the hitting plus the base running, and it's not even the steals. Like the steals are great. The 70 as a number is a smidge overrated. I'll say that. 40-70, like, okay, 50-50 probably is more impressive, but 40-70, it's all the extra bases in there. It's the, going from first to third on singles. It's going the famous, Dansby bloop and Acuna scores from first off in 2022, like coming back from an ACL injury. Like, he just does magical things on the base paths, and that's just it's the Ricky Henderson effect, that he's the highest scoring player in the history of the sport, because it's the 1,400 steals, but it's just the extra things he does. It's taking walks here. It's taking the extra base. It's just plus base running and plus hitting, a plus arm. The defense comes and goes. He doesn't get very good jumps. Part of that probably is the arm, like knowing he has a great arm. So if he doesn't make the perfect play, he can still throw a guy out. And that in the aggregate is not great for your defensive value, but moment to moment can be adequate enough. But Ronald's,
it could also be him being kind of tentative because of his injuries.
Yeah, because his first injury was, jumping for a ball in the outfield.
And also, I see it with Starling Marte on the Mets. Like, before he got injured, he was like always attacking the ball, throwing the ball really hard in. Mm-hmm. But as like the last couple of years, he doesn't always go like 100% after the ball because he's had so many leg injuries.
Right. And to Alex's point about the games played, it is going to be a legitimate issue. To me, we were talking pre-show about like my issues with like the Dodgers pitching rotation. I think some of that applies here with the Braves, that they have no incentive for Ronald Acuna to play every single game. No, they have no incentive, and they can't even play him at DH. So you can't give him half days because Marcell Ozuna exists. You want Ozuna's bat in the lineup every single day. So if Acuna needs some rest days, well, he's on the bench. We might get one at bat, right, in the 8th inning against some ridiculous lefty that throws 700 miles per hour, right? So Ronald may only play 120 games this season. I think he'll miss the first month. That's, say 25, 30 games there. And maybe he has an IL stint or sits out a series, like just some maintenance throughout the year. And again, you can't play him at DH because Ozuna plays there, and Ozuna in the field. You think Acuna is bad, try Marcell Ozuna. It would probably be worse than what Jorge Soler was doing last year. So Acuna is my 3. Hopefully he'll be number 1 again someday, but just the run production floor to me is the difference between like Tatis, Tucker, and Acuna. And I'll get to my number 2. He is a different kind of floor, but just runs, being a leadoff hitter, like runs.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll go into my number 3 here. You guys have a number 5. I am at 3. It's Fernando Tatis Jr. I'm pretty high on him overall this year, and it really comes down to the fact that I trust he's going to play a full season. Not going to be there for every single game, obviously, but I do trust that he's going to be there. Here, plus also the offense is something that you just cannot replicate very often. Like watching him play as well, if you took Acuna, right, made him slightly better at defense, it took away some of the power. That's what you get with Tatis, I think. Like, I think that Acuna overall is the better hitter, but Tatis is a better defender than Acuna. They're still very good. They're both incredible baseball players. But with Tatis, I feel like you know a little bit more about what you're going to get. And really, it feels kind of, because I have a feeling we're all going to have at least the same two people at 1 and 2. Not quite sure the order, although I'm pretty sure we should know the order on this one. But from it, honestly, 3 through 5, there's all 3 of these guys feel like they could be in any spot here. They're all that good. And they're, like you said, Trout is a guy we had to leave off the list, unfortunately. There's a bunch of other guys that could have made it on here. This race really came down to 1 and 2. And I'll start with my number 2 here. And I'm going Soto. Soto, I think objectively, is one of the best pure hitters that we have seen over the last 2 decades. Like, watching him hit the ball, like, Ichiro was a legend for getting slap hits, for getting the ball down the field. You have guys like Pujols that were legendary for power. He does both. He knows how to take the bat that is in his hands. He can put the ball anywhere he wants on the field with incredible control. Plus, he can put it out of the ballpark too. And just to add a little bit more onto it, he also walks. He is the definition of what you want as a hitter. You can put him legitimately at leadoff. You could put him at batting second. You could put him batting third, batting fourth, batting fifth. You can put him anywhere, and he is going to succeed. I don't think there's too much of a debate anymore about how good Juan Soto can be, because he's only getting better, and I will happily eat crow. I said on the podcast before that I was not a big Juan Soto believer. Well, I am now. This dude is insane. And when you put together the fact that he is able to put the ball anywhere that he wants to and can take walks, this dude's insane. The only reason, and I mean this sincerely, the only reason why he is not number 1 on this list is because he does not play defense. His defense is, it is bad. But that should tell you even more about how good his hitting is. The fact that he's still number 2 above guys like Tatis, Acuna, Tucker, Trout, purely on the offense. The guy that's at number 1 has a good bit of defense as well.
Yeah, so I have Soto at number 2 also. I can talk about his bat for days. I'm going to talk about his fielding for a second, which is that it was really bad in 2022. He was negative 17 outs above average in 2022, negative 7 in 2023, and it was up to negative 1 last year, so still not great. He's going to be playing a lot of right field this year again, but he's really just with the bat in his hands. It's crazy because this was, in a lot of ways, the best season of his career. Okay, he had a 180 WRC plus, the best over a full season, that is, because in 2020 he had a 202. But it was that weird COVID year. He didn't even play all 60 games that year. But I will say this is also the 5th straight year where he's walked more than he struck out, which is crazy. He had a career high 41 homers, a 989 OPS, second only to his 2021 season. He just, it's crazy because he underperformed a lot of his batted ball metrics. His actual batting average was 288. His expected batting average was 316. His slugging percentage was 569. His expected slugging was 646. His WOBA was 421. His ex-WOBA was 462. He tears the cover off the ball. Tears the absolute cover off the ball. And he hits the ball in the air a lot, which I think helps him, especially in a stadium like Citi Field. It's not necessarily, it's not as bad of a ballpark as it used to be for hitters, but still not great. But I think that he sprays the ball to all fields, which is also really good. So I think you're looking at a guy, he's only 26. He's firmly in his prime right now. I think we're looking at a guy who can hit 40 home runs again. I'm not saying necessarily he'll put up 180, but I can definitely see like a 160, 170. I see like a 6 or 7, maybe 8 F4 season. He had an 8.1 this year. I really look forward to watching him play this year. And I think he makes other players around him better. This year, he's going to be hitting second behind Francisco Lindor and in front of Pete Alonso and Mark Vientos. I think those two guys behind them, especially Vientos, I think are going to have I think Vientos could have the best year of his career this year. And I know people are talking about the contract. No, it's 15 years. I'm not thinking about 38-year-old Juan Soto right now. I'm thinking about the current Juan Soto, and the current Juan Soto is one of the best hitters I've ever seen. So he's number 2 this year only because the number 1 is just on his own planet.
So I also have Juan Soto at number 2. I'm going to give you the worst case scenario outcomes here. This is the floor for Juan Soto. Let's walk through this. The floor for Juan Soto, his worst walk rate in his career, rookie season, 16%. His worst on base percentage over a full season, 401. His worst homer rate over a full season, 4.1%. His worst isolated power over a full season, 210. His worst, that's not the right stat. Over a full season, his worst OPS, 853. His worst OPS plus over a full season, 142. That is the floor. That's
insane.
If Fernando Tatis did that, if Fernando Tatis had a 401 on base percentage, they would throw a parade in San Diego. If Ronald Acuna had a 142 OPS plus this season, they would throw a parade in Atlanta. If Kyle Tucker had a 4% home run rate, they would throw a parade at Wrigley. Juan Soto does that, and that's the worst season of his career. He's a historic player. The 15-year contract, it has a chance to age really well. I could see 38-year-old Juan Soto drawing walks 15% of the time and being like a Barry Bonds, not quite
2007 Barry Bonds.
Yeah, 2007 Barry Bonds had a 470 on base percentage.
I think it was 480.
Yeah, it was insane.
We're gonna get a John Boyce video about how good would Juan Soto be without a bat.
Yeah,
exactly.
The floor, I said with Acuna, just the run scoring floor is incredible. Juan Soto just appears on first base. It's uncanny. And with how durable Soto is, everyone else on the list, Tatis has not played more than 141 games in a season. Tucker missed half the season last year. Acuna is going to miss a chunk this season, missed 3/4 of the season last year, missed a chunk in 22, and missed half the season in 21. Guess what? This guy, Juan Soto, he just plays baseball. It's as simple as that. He's been top 10 in the league in plate appearances 3 times. He played 162 games in 2023. I'm looking for the times on base. He has reached base last 4 seasons, 304 times, 266 times, 290 times, 299 times. He just appears on first base. The last 6 seasons, he's been top 5 in his league in being on base. He just wins. And those add up over time. Every time he takes a trip to first base, that makes it easier for the 3-hitter, the 4-hitter, the 5-hitter. The standard baseball thing is you hit better when men are on base, whether it's the pitcher stressing out or the defense having to move around and play at double play depth, which means there's different holes. Hit it where they ain't, right? The the Willie Keeler thing. Well, that just makes Alonso's job easier, Vientos' job easier, Nimmo's job easier, whoever's hitting behind him. And that is a compounding effect that Soto with a, say, 420 on base percentage for his career, right? That means 42% of the time the 3-hitter comes up in the Mets lineup in the first inning, Soto will be on first base.
One thing I want to...
He's incredibly valuable.
Extremely valuable. Well, that I kind of want to say along that value of yours here. With having runners on base at that point, it's any time that you can make any bit of indecision within your opponent, that is huge in any sport. I've been playing pickleball a lot lately, and I always try to aim in between the 2 people that I'm playing against because I want them to even have that remote second thought of maybe the other person's going for it or something like that, because if with that little bit of indecision, that means they're not going to get the perfect shot. Because now they have to rethink about it, and the ball's already starting to go past them at this time, and now they're playing defensively. It's the exact same concept in baseball, where if you have runners on base, the pitcher has to be cognitively aware of that there's someone on first base And yet they're still trying to strike out someone who has achieved the impossible dream of making it to the Major League Baseball. Like, there's a reason why these athletes are being paid this kind of money. This is it. Just playing at the professional level is an impossible feat. And Soto giving that kind of opportunity here is insane. And creating that much indecision is insane.
Like, and I said it earlier, like the worst version of Juan Soto we've seen is a 140 OPS plus guy. That's an all-star. Like his worst season, he's an all-star. He's getting down ballot MVP consideration, even when he quote unquote sucks, even when he's like in a slump. Like the getting on base doesn't slump. They say speed never slumps. Well, getting on base never slumps. If you're walking even 16% of the time and you're hitting, say, 230, let's say you're hitting 230. We'll give it 250 for so the math makes sense. If you're walking 16% of the time, that's 1 out of every 6 plate appearances, you end up on first base. That's every other game you're getting like a free trip to first base. Again, makes everyone in the lineup's job easier. And that's like worst case scenario for Soto. He could probably be a 20% walker. There is a world that, like I said with the Barry Bonds example, he could have a 500 on base percentage in a season. I wouldn't be shocked. He could have like an 1100 OPS. I wouldn't be shocked. He could hit 350. I wouldn't be shocked. I would like to see that other than the team he plays for. I'd love to see like a 10-11 WAR Soto season that he hits 40 homers, walks 150 times, drives in 125 runs, has a 500 on base percentage. That would be great for baseball. He's one of the few guys that, yeah, he could have a 10 WAR season. I could see it. And there's no defensive value or base running value. So it'd be all with the bat.
And the thing is that when you hit at his level, you can sort of sacrifice the glove a little bit. But I mean, it's just, yeah, he's really a generational talent with the bat in his hands. And I can't wait for the first time we get to see him in a regular season game in that lineup with Francisco Lindor hitting ahead of him. But anyways, why don't we?
I want to say one more thing on Soto real quick. Here, every time I think of Soto, I think of this one scene from the movie Moneyball. Here, and it is the scene where Billy Beane goes into the dugout here to basically talk about the lineup card with the manager. Yeah. And he goes, it's like he's trying to say his defense. And he says his defense does not matter. That's what it is for Soto. Legitimately, the only reason why he's not number one is because, like you said, number one is just on another planet. But this guy, you don't care about the defense 99% of the time, right? You're okay with watching him take a bad route to the ball. You're okay with him leaving the throw a bit short here because you know that when he comes up in the bottom half of that inning, he is going to give you something that you are going to marvel at.
Yeah, and I'll just go ahead and give the number one because I think I'm assuming we all have the same player. My number one is Mikey Thomas. He plays for the Melonheads.
Oh yeah, obviously.
I mean, this guy hits home runs like Mikey Thomas. I'll say that much.
Dude, man, Nugget is great. I don't know why. There's no reason why he's not. Yeah.
But Aaron Judge, I don't know what else to say about Aaron Judge. Really? I mean, seriously, 218 WRC plus. That's higher than what he had when he hit 62 home runs. He had 11.2 Fangraphs WAR. That's also higher than that. I mean, seriously, he had a 701 slugging percentage. He had 322. He had 458 on base. A 379 isolated power. 144 RBIs. He's the first player since Ryan Howard in 2009 to do that. I know I'm not a huge RBI guy as a statistic, but yeah, I can't say enough about Aaron Judge. It's one of the few times you'll hear me say that about a Yankee. But I really enjoy watching Aaron Judge play. He does strike out a bit. It's fine. And we were talking about how Soto underperformed his batted ball data in some ways. Well, Aaron Judge's slugging percentage was 701. his expected slugging was 723. That's insane. His WOBA was 476. His ex-WOBA was 479. So I understand he did drop that ball in the World Series, and he had a pretty lackluster performance overall in the postseason. But he's Aaron Judge. His regular season numbers speak for itself. Speak for themselves. And I think that we're expecting. It's hard to not think of him as the favorite to win MVP again this year. And we're looking at a future Hall of Famer here. He's truly a special talent. And there's not much more to say about him. He's just amazing. And he's moving back to right field. So probably going to have a bigger season this year, I think.
Yeah, I'll go to my number one is obviously Victor Robles.
I was waiting for it.
Saw what happened
Yes.
over the course the second half of the season. He played like an MVP, so obviously he's number one. No, come on.
Hey, shoot, he was on pace for like a 1070 season.
There was a real thought for me to put him at number 5. I really thought about it, but
I think if the Cubs didn't trade for Kyle Tucker, Victor Robles would have been your number 5.
I'm not going to put it past me to do that.
Yeah.
But no, obviously it's San Francisco Giants legend Arson Judge, but like,
Imagine.
We've been talking about Judge for the last several years. I have been on record saying I did not like him because the strikeout number was too much for me. Yeah, he's going to hit homers, but he's going to get out just as much, like 10 times as much. He has proven something that is very hard, in my opinion, to prove. And that is that baseball is about power. That's what Judge does. He makes you fear when he is up at the plate. When you hear all rise for Aaron Judge, the game just seems to shift. Like, I understand what happened in the playoffs. I understand, he let the ball drop a few months before it should have on New Year's Day. But at the same time, I cannot think of one more hitter that I fear more than Aaron Judge. Legitimately. Like, at this point in baseball, there's a reason why he's been an MVP candidate in every year for the last few years. There's a reason why when he comes up to the plate, people tune in. He brings the show. Like, don't get me wrong, Soto does too. Soto does it in a very efficient way. Judge does it the flashy way. He hits a home run, makes you know that he just hit a home run off of your poverty franchise and decided to say, hey, I'm here, guys. When this guy burst onto the scene, there was a lot of questions for him. Can he play defense? Can he cut back on the strikeouts at least a little bit? Can he hit home runs outside of Yankee Stadium? He proved, yes, I can play defense. Yes, I can cut back on the strikeouts at least a little bit. And yes, I can hit homers anywhere. That's what Judge does. Plus, again, like I said, the defense also pretty good. Like, again, if you try to put the two, Soto and Judge, in a fielding competition, it's not a competition. It's a slaughtering.
Yeah,
Aaron Judge is potentially the best player in baseball.
Yeah, it's funny because we talk about it. I won't say he's not like a Gold Glover necessarily in the outfield, but what I like about him is his arm. It's crazy because when he played football, he was a tight end, but he throws the ball like a quarterback. Like he makes it look so easy and just like boom, like no.
I mean, I hear the Jets are trying to hire him in to be a quarterback here during.
I mean, he'd probably be better than whatever they're gonna do next year.
I mean, they don't have.
They can replace the other guy named Aaron. Yeah,
they don't have Aaron there, so. Hey, it makes sense. They're just gonna move from one Aaron to another Aaron.
Yeah, one playoff choker to another playoff choker. One multi-time MVP to another MVP, multi-time MVP. So Aaron Judge is obviously my number one. It's almost boring talking about like the all-time greats. It can be. It's like, what does Aaron Judge do well? He hits for power. Okay, great. I'm going to give you a snapshot. A 131 game stretch the last 131 games Aaron Judge played in 2024. He hit 354.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry.
Not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
He
Not
almost
bad
won
for
the
a
Triple
pure
Crown.
power hitter.
Yeah,
He got close
we're
to the
getting to
Triple
that.
Crown.
We're
Yeah.
getting to that. On base percentage, 488. Like what? Excuse me? The slugging percentage, 777. That's an area code. That's not real. Those are not real numbers. He did that.
I know. I think that's what you're trying to find in the slot machine.
Yes. This
is playing on rookie difficulty.
Yes. This is end of April through the end of September. He had a 777 slugging percentage.
I mean, that's just like if Mac is pitching to you in the MLB the show. It's fine.
Cap, what are you talking about, bro?
It's I had to throw a little shot in there on you, bet.
Bro. Like a 1265 OPS. These are not real numbers. These aren't even video game numbers. You have to play on rookie difficulty and have maxed out stats to do this. 54 home runs in 131 games. In that stretch, he averaged an RBI per game. We can quibble with RBI. Are they a good stat or not? Well, Aaron Judge is like, okay, I'm going to give you an RBI every single game and score 113 runs. And one difference between his season last year and his season in 2022, it's the well-rounded nature of it. He added 8 extra doubles in just 8 more plate appearances. Yeah, he had a few fewer home runs. He only had 58 home runs. Yeah, just casually leads the league in home runs, and it's his second best season. But he had 3 more hits and 11 fewer at bats. So the batting average, 11 points higher. He walked 22 extra times. The on-base percentage was 33 points higher. The walk rate went from a shade under 16% to a shade under 19%, which is ridiculous. And you can have the same, the floor is crazy. The floor for Judge is a little bit different because he does strike out a lot. So you can have, his game against the Pirates, he was 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts to end the season. Not ideal, but he's down to a 24% strikeout rate. That's not even bat your eyes at territory nowadays. The league average for at least Judge's career is 22.4%. Okay, Judge strikes out just a smidge more than the average player does. But when you bring 7.3% home run rate for his career and an isolated power of 316,
it's all right.
Nearly twice the league average. Consider that. Just an absurd player like Soto. I want to see the best Aaron Judge. If he hit, if he actually hit the way the batted ball metrics say, he's already had 10+ WAR seasons on Baseball Reference. He's probably a Hall of Famer the second he takes the field this season. It's absurd stuff. He hasn't even played 1,000 games yet. He's hit over 300 home runs. He's driven in 700 runs. He scored 736 times. These are just silly bananas numbers, and it's a pleasure to watch him play baseball.
Here's the thing that's so odd, right? Is that we have a player here, legitimately, that is one of the, if he continues on this pace, would be one of the greatest of all time. Legitimately, we throw the word GOAT gets thrown around a lot nowadays. Aaron Judge continuing on this path has that potential. This is a guy that right now he is striking out once per game. That's about on average, right? If on a 4 at-bats day, he's striking out once per game, and yet is still hitting 350. Is still with an OPS of over 1,200. What more do you need to see? We talked a little bit about how RBIs are a stat that some people are iffy on this point. Batting average is a stat people are iffy on. Aaron Judge satisfies both crowds. He does it all extremely well. That's why we say that he's on another planet. No disrespect to Juan Soto at all. So Soto is an incredible ball player, and the two of them put together was enough to propel the Yankees to the World Series. But Judge is just another animal. He really is. He's the judge.
Yeah, no, I mean, watching him from across town, I mean, I felt like my childhood best friend is a Yankee fan. So I went to a couple of games this past year, and we went to spring training, went to a Yankee game. But it felt like every time I went, I was going to see Judge. Just watching him play, having him on my fantasy team this year. I mean, he was single-handedly the reason my team stayed in the race as long as we did. In reality, my team was not good last year, but Judge was just. I felt like I was getting the ESPN home run notification like every day with him. Like it literally, like he turned up the sliders and turned down the difficulty. That's what it was.
There's only one thing that I honestly do not like Aaron Judge for, and it's not his fault. It's when he was about to break the home run record. Here,
oh my god!
ESPN would always channel over to that.
Yeah, no,
more times than not, he was just being intentionally walked.
I went to a game. I went to a game that last weekend of the season with my friend, literally just to see Judge try to hit 62, and he got hit by a pitch and walked twice. It was, oh my god,
generational
the
stuff.
Barry Bonds experiment, alive and well.
Yeah. This Aaron Judge fella is really good. By the way, we will be talking about Shohei Ohtani next week, so get your Fox graphics up. Shohei Ohtani will be on.
Yeah, a couple batters away, you know.
Yeah, he's one podcast away.
We almost went a whole podcast without talking about Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, fun. Absolutely. I've been thinking about that since you said show. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna mention the Shohei Ohtani thing. But we have trivia. It's trivia time. Shohei Ohtani could be a valid answer here, by the way. It's trivia time, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and bozos. It is the Mac versus Alex Cup again, the return, the triumphant return. And today, we just talked about Aaron Judge. He hits the ball quite a long way. Well, today we're going to talk about more players that hit the ball a very long way. If I can find it on Baseball Savant real quick. Where is it? Maybe it's not on this page. Okay, we're going to go to a different page.
This is great podcasting, by the way.
Yes, this is excellent podcasting, but even greater podcasting is a trivia segment. Mm-hmm. Alex versus Mac. Today, your name of the game is to tell me the players who had the longest home runs in 2024. And you each get 5 selections, and the point total is equivalent to that player's longest home run in 2024. So example, if you have a player and his longest home run is 700 feet, you get 700 points.
Let's go.
And all it takes is one. It doesn't matter if that was the only homer they hit. That doesn't matter if they had one 490 footer and then the rest were inside the park home runs.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Alex, I would like you to pick a number between 0 and 30.
24.
All right. Mac?
17.
The number was 18. Mac, you may go first, my friend.
All right. I believe the man who hit the longest home run this season was Jesus Sanchez.
My guy, Jesus Sanchez, nearly made my list, actually. Nearly made my list. Why can't I find longest home run?
There
it is. Is it? Yes, I found it. All right. Mac, you get 480 points. Jesus Sanchez had a 480-foot home run this season. It was the longest home run in baseball.
Is that on Baseball Savant?
Yes, I found it.
Okay. I've struggled to find it before, too.
Yep, I got it. All right. Alex, your player, you get the next 2 selections.
Okay, so this was in 2024, you said?
Correct, 2024.
Dang. Okay.
So Nomar Mazara would not be a good answer.
No, honestly, my thought was Kelnick because I remember the home run hit to dead centering.
Oh, at Wrigley. Oh my God.
Oh man, you thought I was hyped over Jared Kelnick in spring? If Jared Kelnick played 162 games at Wrigley, he would be Babe Ruth. Pitching too.
I feel like I remember this. Again, I'm probably gonna lose, but I'm still gonna go with what I think here. My first one, I'm gonna go with O'Neal Cruz.
The cruise missile is a very good guess. That nets you 470.
Okay, I
Let's
figured he had a
go!
big one. Yeah.
All right. I just remember that he's the guy who hits the ball the absolute hardest.
Yes, I
Just
watched
bust
with
the
my
stat
own
cast.
eyes. He set the StatCast record for hardest hit
He
ball.
did.
122, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah,
122
it was a single.
It was- yeah, it was a single. Yeah.
Because it was so
Um,
hard off the wall that Ronald could just play it off the wall.
All right, I'm gonna go with what I feel is an easy pick. I don't know. I don't have a memory if that he hit one absurdly far, but it probably happened. One Mr. Yordangus Alvarez.
Jordan Alvarez, solid entrant, 461 feet.
No, yeah, we take those.
Okay.
All right, Mac.
I know this guy hit one to the. He may have cleared the pavilion in right field. So Shohei Ohtani.
Shohei Ohtani, 476 feet.
Yeah. Okay. I knew it was something like that.
Not bad. Mac, your turn again.
Okay, I'm gonna go with a risky one because I don't know if he actually hit one super far this year. But Giancarlo Stanton.
Giancarlo Stanton. I gotta scroll a little bit. 451.
That feels
451.
low for
Okay.
him, but that's still decent.
But his average home run was 414 feet, which is the most, which is top 10.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Guys.
Wow, that is. I don't think you're gonna choose this player. I hope not. Travis d'Arnaud was tied for 6th in longest average home run.
Oh, wow.
Average home run, 415 feet is the same as Ohtani.
All right, I'm gonna go with a guy that we talked about today. One Mr. Arson Judge.
Arson Judge, that'll
Oh.
give you 477.
No.
So he takes the lead. Alex,
Wow.
you have the lead through 3 players. Who is your 4th player?
Yeah, to be fair, now I'm out of my gimmies. Let's see here. Try to think of some of the guys that are just the biggest power hitters. Look, every fiber of my being wants to say Cal Raleigh, but I know I think his farthest was 430, something like that. So not the best kind of guess to go to.
All right. Do you have an answer?
Because I've been watching the great video that we made on
exactly.
YouTube of every Cal Raleigh home run here,
Yes.
which by the
Hey,
way,
I
go
did give the
go and
distances
subscribe
on
on
that.
YouTube.
Yes.
Let's see here. Some of the other big boppers in the game of business.
I'll give you some hints. Don't say Nicky Lopez.
What? Thank you for that. I was
thinking about it.
Also, don't say Jake Fraley. His longest home run was 389 feet.
There
talent
might be
right
Jake Fraley.
Yes.
Let's go with let's go Lindor. Lindor, I think, has hit some pretty big ones.
Francisco
That'd be
Lindor.
interesting there.
Um,
Honestly, don't even know what his longest would be.
Unfortunately, this is on my phone, so I gotta scroll. I can't do the control.
Oh no.
Wait, can I do? How do you do? I saw this earlier. No. Okay, this is gonna take a minute.
Crap.
Do 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 do.
Oh, I'm stupid. There's some other names I could have very easily gone with.
Do 432 feet for Francisco Lindor.
Oh, I thought he would have had one harder, but okay.
Okay. So
so you know how I was in the lead. We're gonna retract that real quick.
Well, I mean, Matt could say Pablo Sandoval and get 0 points.
I'm gonna go with a guy who I think hit a really long one this year because he plays for the Rockies. I'm going with Ryan McMahon.
Ooh.
Ryan McMahon, 462 feet.
I knew
That'll
that he
give
hit
you
a
the lead.
ridiculous bomb like that. Coors Field, man.
Yeah, Coors Field. Ryan McMahon, average home run distance, 407 feet. Mac, you can ice it here.
I can oh god, this is the toughest part here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up. I have a 27-foot lead here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go
just straight and narrow
with the easy-ish one, I guess. Give me Juan Soto.
All right, Juan Soto. I do have to scroll a little bit here.
Oh, great.
447 feet.
Okay, that's reasonable.
447 feet. So the difference is 474. Alex,
So I need to get at least 474 in this
Alex,
pick.
there is one player that will win you the game.
What?
There is one player that will win you the game. So number 1, Jesus Sanchez. Number 2 is this player, this mythical player that you need to get correct. Number 3. Number 3 is Aaron Judge. Number 4 is Shohei Ohtani. Any other player besides this one particular player, Mac wins. If you can pull this player, you win. No hints. Can he pull it? 478 feet.
I'm
An
gonna go
absolute
with.
missile.
I'm gonna go with. I think this is the guy that I was thinking of that I should have gone to, but I did not. I'm gonna go with Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
All right. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., I can confirm, had a 470-plus foot home run.
But let me guess.
Unfortunately, Alex, it was 471.
Oh,
Mac wins by 3 points.
I think I know who that player was.
I think I do too, but
who is it?
Jorge Soler.
Our Lord and Savior.
I knew it was Jorge
Solar
Soler.
power, baby. 478 feet.
I almost picked him earlier this year.
Wait a minute. No, hold on. There's one more that I came up with here because you brought up Colorado, and it brought up like this one memory from when I was in Colorado. Sam Hilliard?
Sam Hilliard, I just flipped over to a different
He played
tab.
on the Braves this year, I thought.
He was on the Braves in 23.
Okay, I can't remember.
Because
Hilliard did hit some long ones.
Yeah, because he hits like
I remember he hit like one that was just like
yeah, no, he's hit. I know that Yelich hit one 499 in 23 there.
So some transparency. Hilliard had a 476. Okay, I had it set to a different qualifier. So if you had said Hilliard, I would have had to find him, but yeah, he did have a 476 foot home run.
That's fine. I'm okay with that loss. Like the fact that it was 3 points away when I had a
you kind of sold a little bit here. The 432. Mac sold a little bit twice, 451 and 447. But I'll go through the top 10 for you guys, if that is okay, if I pull up the right list. Top 10 with no qualifier for
plate appearances.
No qualifier for plate appearances. Sanchez 480, Soler 478, Judge 477, Ohtani 476, Hilliard 476, Trout 473, Cruz 472, Guerrero and Alonso 471, Luis Robert 470.
I didn't realize Alonso hit one 470 this year.
Yes.
I know that he hit a bomb, like he hit the longest home run by a Met this year. But I couldn't remember how long it went. I thought it was closer to 450.
Mm-hmm. Also, shout out to Salvador Perez. Average home run distance 420.
Nice. Wait, who had the longest average? Was his the longest average home run distance, or?
Yes, among players that had more than like 2 home runs. No, okay. Cruz had 422, so Cruz beat him out. Yeah. So he was the highest qualified. The highest non-qualified was Zach DiZenzo. Yeah, average of 442. He had a 446 and a 438. Pretty good. And by the way, when we get off, I will be watching the Jorge Soler video on repeat. Anyways, Mac, congratulations.
Thank you.
By a score of 2,316 to Alex's 2,313. And with that in the bank, we will move to everyone's favorite segment, our moment to ourselves. Would anyone like to go first? If not, I can go. Alex, you are welcome to go.
Sounds good.
I'll give you the countdown. 3, 2, 1.
So I've got a couple things to talk about, but I'm going to go to the main one first. I went to the doctor last week, funny enough, because I'm not feeling great today. But one of the things that my family has always kind of struggled with was high blood pressure. And by listening to me on the podcast, you guys know that my blood pressure can get a little high at times. I get a little lamped up. I've had problems with high blood pressure for a while. And when I went to, like, not to give like exacts, but the last time I went to the doctor, I was definitely on the higher range that they were considering medications for me. I went to the doctor a little bit ago, and my blood pressure has dropped to a much more good number here. It's much closer to the 120, 116 over 80, which was like mind blowing to me. that I can have that again. And it just goes to show that how much activity can really help out with health. Yeah, I've really taken my health seriously with trying to get more muscle into me, eating more protein in the diet, and all that fun stuff. And it's been working out honestly pretty darn well. Like this is a 2X. I was wearing 3X this time last year. But no, legitimately, like I'm just proud of how far I've come and the fact that I've been able to make it this far with it. You guys can too. If you guys are ever, if anybody out there is considered trying to like get healthier, just go walking, go running, go to a gym if you can, go play a game if you can. It costs $5 to go play pickleball for several hours. Go and do that. They will have you running for your life.
Yeah, I second everything Alex said.
I also do.
Yeah, quite proud of you.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I the physical activity thing, I also 100% second. I'm not a huge Barstool sports guy, but Frank the Tank has the whole Frank walks thing. You know, it's just, you know, even if it's just going for a walk, like, you know, doing physical activity in general.
Anything to get the blood going.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'll raise you one. Pick a friend or family member, call them on the phone, but here's the kicker. You're not allowed to sit down during the phone call. So just pace around in circles, walk around. I'm in an apartment, walk around outside. If your cell service is good enough, just walk around half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour. You won't even feel like you're walking because you're on your phone with your best friend or your family member, and you'll be yapping away about, like, I can talk to my dad about airplanes or the 1984 Tigers or whatever. And it'll be like 10,000 steps later.
84 Tigers is a good talking point.
Yeah. It's a very good team.
But yeah, legitimately just like anything to do to get moving. I will also say one more thing, like on my end of it, right? Playing like sports, like pickleball or stuff like that, gets my endorphins going. It's also really helped out my depression because when you get that oxygen into your blood flow, it definitely helps with everything else. So,
all right, Mac, would you like to go?
You can go.
Okay. Darn.
All right, I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1, begin.
Oh, maybe I should put myself in full screen. Okay.
I can do it for you.
Okay. So this time next week, just about, I'll be home and like home, which is exciting. I haven't been home on my own accord since August of 2023, and that makes me really sad that I didn't get back to see my mom again. But I'm excited to be home and, you know, see my friends and, you know, hang out and have a relaxing week. I've made plans with my friend Amanda. We have the same birthday, which is exciting. So we're going bowling to get that physical exercise in. Last time I was, last time I was home on my own accord, we went to a rage room, which was fun. Recommend rage rooms. So yeah, it's good to travel, good to be home, good to see some friends, and yeah, it's tough. So I live in Virginia, right? And I have family here, of course, but it's tough trying to like make friends when you work overnights and you work, you know, 40 hours a week and you do, you know, sports stuff on the side. Like I have the podcast and I do, I've worked with the Yankees Twitter account. I work with a different social media account. It's like I'm always here, right? I don't like go out a whole lot. So and like having social media friends is great, but then it's like 3 a.m. and you're like, I don't have anything to do. Don't have anything to remind you of people. Right. So like Amanda, for example, got me a Christmas gift. It's an egg with soy sauce. There's like a specific name for it, but I can't think of it at the moment. But it's like, okay, it's nice to like look over to my right and see, okay, I have a like tangible, physical, you know, thing that says, okay, someone cares about me in the world. And so it's it'll be good to have like a week back home and, you know, be around my friends and my dad and my other grandmother. Not very grateful for my grandmother here and grateful for my family here. But it'll be nice to see my friends.
Yeah, no, I 100% understand the feeling of getting to go home and see your friends, like being like the most important thing or one of the most fun things.
Yeah, I agree.
I still blame COVID because I didn't like make super good amount of friends in college because COVID kind of ruined. So
that was your freshman year, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah. So I have
a
normal semester and then like spring break of my.
I remember that. Yeah.
I'll be honest. I don't have
over my birthday.
I still don't have many friends from college. Like I've got a couple, but
I have friends from the swim team, but like outside of that, like I don't like. I have some friends from grad school too, but like it's like right now in the city. Like I said, my childhood best friend moved to Baltimore, but even he said like he's going through that. Like he goes to work, but like he's a teacher, so there aren't a lot of people in his age range, and it's like it's
the college thing was. The college thing was tough because like I had like a friend group, like I had a Bible study group. So I think Tuesday we did Bible study, and then Friday we'd have like game night after worship. It's like game night or watch Mandalorian or play basketball or just whatever. Or play Dominion. In fact, played that a couple times. Got my mom to pack up all my Dominions into one box or 2 boxes.
Dominion also a very goated game.
Yeah, facts. It shipped them out to me, and I played it for like 2 weeks, and then COVID hits. So just an unfortunate situation there, but Mac, you're welcome to go.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
So I want to begin by shouting out. I got a text a short while ago. Shout out to the 7 members of the TCNJ swim team that were invited to NCAAs next month. I think we had 10 last year and the year before, but we were able to get 1 relay invited in addition to the 4 guys who were individually invited. So 7 guys, that's another good representation. So shout out to them. Last year around this time, I was talking about a gentleman named Owen Lloyd who went viral for, let's just say an undesirable reason. He was disqualified from a race because his celebration went a little awry with him falling into someone's lane, which technically is illegal. Yada, yada, yada. He didn't, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, he got his shot at redemption this past weekend at ACCs, and he won. So, and his celebration was amazing. He turned to the camera and yelled, "Ball don't lie." It's true. Ball don't lie. Yeah, I just think it's amazing that he did get his shot at redemption and that he took it and he won. So shout out to him. First of all, celebrate all you want. I think that we shouldn't have regulations on celebrating unless you do something dumb or offensive. And also, yeah, I just think it's great seeing things like that happen across all sports. So shout out to him. Shout out to our guys going next month. And yeah, it's this is my way of waiting for the regular season to start in baseball. Like I said last week, there's swimming on TV doesn't happen very often. Technically, it's not on TV, but you know what I mean. But yeah, it's an exciting time. I'm racing next month in a few weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. I have my flight locked in, my flight and my registration locked in for nationals in San Antonio in late April. So big things coming along. I will say I'm a little nervous about nationals because I age up the week before the meet. So other than that, yeah, that's everything I got to talk about.
Thrilling stuff. Exciting. All right. Well, that is the end of our podcast. If you enjoy, drop a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Losses Above Replacement. You can check us out on Twitter and Instagram at LAR_baseball. Tomorrow, well, the time you're recording this or time you're watching this, listening to this, Thursday, February 27th, it's a big day for us. We are starting our 30 teams in 30 days on the Twitter. We have our graphics, our wonderful graphics, 300 of them.
Let's go. Yes.
Plus some extra ones I might sprinkle in. If you want, you can follow us individually. I'm at Mr. Splashman 19. It's on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. You can follow Alex at the Sports Guy 242. You can follow Mac at Matthias_A_K. Make sure you drop a 5-star review. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever podcast platform of choice, a comment on the YouTube. Let us know who are your top 5 wide receivers. Who are your top 5 Hey, you can drop your
Yeah, you
wide
can drop your
receiver
top five
list.
Well,
receivers.
I mean, a lot of them probably could play the outfield. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
here.
That could be
so-
fun. Like Jamar Chase running down fly balls. Sign me up for that.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So give us your top 5 right fielders. Give us your favorite Pop-Tart flavor. That's been a popular one. We're growing on the YouTube. It's been exciting these last week or so. So if you don't like it, just increase our watch time. We love that. You can comment why you don't like us. That's fine. We might not reply to you, but we will take your criticism. That's okay. I'm open to criticism.
We're always looking to get better.
Yes.
Exactly.
If you'd like to be a video editor for us, drop your email. Anyways.
Unpaid internships.
Yes. Paid potentially soon. Maybe.
No college credits, nothing on that. Just you get some experience. You get those exposure dollars.
Well, anyways, with that said, for us at losses above replacement, I think we can all say that Jared Kelnick is so back, at least until Ronald returns. Toodles.